Thank you, everybody, for coming to the Aaron Torres Podcast YouTube page. If you could do me a quick favor, see that little subscribe button at the bottom of your screen? Go ahead, click that subscribe button. Really does help our channel grow, our audience grow, and I really do appreciate it more than you know. So click that subscribe button. Appreciate your support. Now, here's the video that you came here for. A little bit of a quieter week in college football. And so with it, we're now under 50 days until the start of college basketball season. So it's coming quick. I'm fired up. I'm excited. And there were two things that I saw this week that really caught my attention that I want to discuss very quickly. The first one came out of beautiful Fayetteville, Arkansas. Okay, so first of all, this is kind of crazy. So as I said, we are now 50 days away from the start of college basketball season, actually well under 50 days away. Arkansas yesterday, so we're recording on Thursday, so on Wednesday, Arkansas yesterday just released its official out-of-conference schedule under 50 days away. Now, to be clear, a lot of this stuff had already leaked. Virtually all of it had already leaked. The Duke game on Thanksgiving Day actually leaked last season, so you kind of knew that some of these big games were on the docket. You kind of knew there was going to be a pretty loaded schedule for this team. Well, I bring it up because this schedule is a freaking bear, okay? And I thought what was interesting, the Arkansas official Twitter account shared this, and then we shared it on our Torres on the Hogs account. Yes, you can follow Torres on the Hogs for all your late-breaking Arkansas content. But how about this? Arkansas, they will play all 8 teams that played in the Elite Eight last year of last year's NCAA tournament. So you talk about a massive, monster, loaded schedule. We did share that on our Tours on the Hogs page, by the way. What this says to me, by the way, sweet graphic that producer Matt made right there. You can see it right there. All 8 teams that played in the Elite Eight last year, this schedule is loaded, and I think it says to me that John Calipari absolutely loves this team. Okay, so first of all, a couple things. One, I already know what I'm going to get from all the Boo Birds. People are going to say, oh, they play in all 8 teams, but 4 of them are in the SEC. Okay, guess what? You know what that means? 4 of them aren't from the SEC. So yes, Tennessee, Alabama, Auburn, and Florida all played in the Elite Eight last year. But the counter to that is they were going to be scheduled no matter what. You know who didn't have to be scheduled? Duke, Houston, Texas Tech, and Michigan State. Easily could have said, you know what? We'll play Eastern Illinois. We'll play Western Kentucky. We'll play whatever. So first of all, I give John Calipari credit for just putting together a schedule that his team and his fan base can truly be excited about. A lot of big games. By the way, that Michigan State game on the road is actually the first week of the regular season. So listen, there's a complaint in college football and college basketball. Not enough true home and homes. Arkansas going to Michigan State in the first week of the season. And I think that's one of the things that stands out about this schedule is that conversely, this is interesting. Arkansas, of those 4 teams that are not in the SEC, so again, Texas Tech, Michigan State, Duke, and Houston, who all played in the Elite Eight last year, none of those games are at Bud Walton Arena. But also on top of that, you do play Louisville at Bud Walton Arena, who I think is going to be a preseason top 10 team. So this shows to me that John Calipari is putting together a schedule he wants. But, as important to me, I think it proves to me, and he said it, and we'll get to that in a second, Matt, but, he said this over the summer is like, you schedule to your team, and we'll share that in a minute. But I just bring it up because this clearly says to me that he really likes this team. And listen, I love Coach Cal. I've actually been following his career since UMass, but certainly kind of on a professional level through the Kentucky years. And I will tell you, there were some of those years at Kentucky where he had a really young team, and I think he really felt like he had to build confidence in those teams. And some of those out-of-conference schedules were pretty freaking uninspiring during the Kentucky era, okay? And this isn't to compare Kentucky, and this is better than that, and that's better than this, and Cal whatever, and whatever. But at the same time, there were years where they would basically play that Champions Classic game super early in the year, Duke, Kansas, Michigan State, and then they wouldn't play a marquee game until late December when they had Louisville, when they had the CBS Sports Classic, whatever. And it was like 6 weeks of just nothing. So the fact that they're playing these games starting early at Michigan State, you got Texas Tech in Dallas, you got Duke Thanksgiving Day, and also you have Houston right before Christmas, it shows me that he likes this team. And as a matter of fact, you don't even got to take my word for it, because as I said, he publicly has said, yeah, I like this team. Producer Matt, what did he say back in July? You could pop that up if you have it available to you, because over the summer, remember, he had that media availability in the middle of the year, in the middle of the summer. It was very unprecedented. It was proof that he liked that team. And it was proof that he liked the team that he even invited the media in to talk about it. But Matt, do we have the picture or no? Okay. Basically what he said was that in that media availability, basically he said point blank, he's like, you schedule to your team. And I think that is something that you ask most college basketball coaches, especially basketball, because creating a schedule in the middle of December, or excuse me, in the middle of the spring is a lot easier. A lot of these football schedules, they're made 5-10 years in advance, the out of conference games. In basketball, you can really put together your out of conference schedule pretty late in the process. I mean, I remember talking to one coach where I was in the middle of May. He was just basically like, yeah, we still got to finalize our roster and then we'll figure out what the schedule looks like. And what Coach Cal said was, you schedule to your team. You don't schedule because you just want to schedule. You've got to look and say, okay, who are we? Where are we at? What are we going to do? And, I think that this schedule once again proves that. There it is right there. Our schedule strength wasn't bad last year. This is Coach Cal's exact quote. Our schedule strength wasn't bad last year, but you schedule to your team. You don't schedule because you just want to schedule. You've got to look at it and say, okay, where are we? Is this too much for these guys? Are we being fair? So yeah, this schedule is good. Yeah, Coach Cal, no doubt this schedule is good, with, again, all 8 teams that were in the Elite 8 last year on Arkansas' schedule. And really quickly, let me say this, because I want to get to one more basketball story before we get out of here. It's hard not to like this team, okay? Listen, I know that anytime you say anything positive about Arkansas, there's going to be certain people that say, oh, Coach Cal. Listen, this team is stacked, okay? And I think it's a vintage Coach Cal team. What does he love? He loves 2 things. He loves guards that can get to the rim and beat you off the dribble. Well, he's got that with Darius Acuff. He's got that with Malik Thomas. He's got that with DJ Wagner. He's got it with Carter Knox, to be honest. And he loves big guys that are unafraid. Trevin Brazile, Nick Pringle, Malik Ewan. And so I look at this roster, and by the way, didn't mention Billy Richmond, didn't mention some of the other freshmen. I love the way he put together this roster. And I think, and there's a lot of schools. I like the way BYU put together its roster, UConn, Kentucky, Michigan, on and on. So it's not just an Arkansas thing. But conversely, what I love about it is the confidence that he has, but also the roster and how the pieces fit. And I think the confidence that he has in the way this roster was built. So I could go on and on, a little bit of a scheduling note, but Arkansas, all 8 Elite 8 teams on the schedule. To me, it very much says Coach Cal likes this team. And oh, by the way, I looked it up. We're about 51 days or so from that Arkansas-Michigan State game. Get excited, Arkansas fans. I think it is going to be an awesome season.